Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Legal Tender, back in the building, back in the vote. As you can see, the vote done changed a little bit, but I still pulled out some notes to make a new video. If you're a fan of Newsmatics, if you're a fan of paper currency, stay rocking with me, stay rocking with the channel. Every Tuesday is Legal Tender Tuesday, so I will be making a new video speaking about something interesting or something new or different within the realm of Newsmatics and paper currency. I want to thank everybody for the love and support of the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, if you're a fan of paper currency and you rocking with Legal Tender, keep watching the channel. Give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, tell a friend to subscribe. And if I say something that isn't correct, put it down in the comments and I will go back and do my diligence and find the right answer and correct that deficiency. And if you have any questions or comments, put it down. I read everything. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. All right. So today I will be speaking about the $20 bill. All right. So the $20 bill is the fifth bill printed in sequential order out of 7. You got the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and the $100 note. And the $20 bill is fifth in sequential order. And also, fun fact, did you know, and keep in mind the verbiage I'm about to use, so the $20 bill has been printed, the $20 bill has been circulated in every currency except silver certificates and US notes. They were printed in United States notes, but never put into circulation. I want to say back in the 1950s, they printed red seal legal tender $20 bills, but never put them into circulation. So $20 bills that were in circulation are every currency type except silver certificates and United States notes that did not make it into public circulation. So speaking about the $20 bill more, we see the image is Andrew Jackson, our 7th United States president. He has been on the obverse side of the $20 bill since 1928, that series year. On the reverse, you got 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House. Let's see if I can work on this lighting. You got the White House on the reverse. Like I said, Jackson on the obverse since series year 1928. I pulled out a couple different currency types, and I will get into those in a minute. All right, so like I said, with the $20 bill, Jackson on the obverse, the $20 bill is the second most issued note, and because of its frequency and demand and issuance, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing had to increase its counterfeiting deterrent measures with added security features. And I'll get into those security features in a moment. They first started to implement those security features on series year 1995. And like I said, I will break down some of the security features that was added to deter the counterfeiting of this note, because it's a very highly produced note. The only one that's higher than this is the $1 bill. Excuse me. All right, so there was a campaign called Women of the 20s, where selected voters were asked to choose three of 15 female candidates to have a portrait on the $20 bill. The goal was to have a woman's image on a $20 bill by the year 2020. And that was the centennial of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. Sad to say we did not reach that goal, but hopefully we'll get there. So more to follow on that part. So some of the candidates that was up for the running were women like Harriet Tubman, Eleanor Roosevelt, Rosa Parks, and Wilma Mankiller. She was the first female chief of the Cherokee Nation. On May 12, 2015, Harriet Tubman was announced as the winning candidate. So an image of Harriet Tubman was supposed to replace Andrew Jackson, but this was halted for unknown reasons. On August 31st, 2017, then Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin said that he would not commit to putting Harriet Tubman's image on a $20 bill, explaining people have been on bills for a long period of time. This is something we'll consider, but right now we have a lot more important issues to focus on. I really don't get the context of that statement, but that's what he said. So moving on. In May 2019, Mnuchin stated that no new imagery will be unveiled until 2026 and that a new bill would not go into circulation until 2028. On January 2021, White House Press Secretary Jan Pinsky said President Joe Biden will accelerate the Tubman redesign. However, the Harriet Tubman redesign is unlikely to be released until will not be released until 2030. So all good things come to those who wait, and we waited this long. We'll just have to wait a little bit longer to get a new image on the $20 note. So the $20 bill has been printed in the following currency types: national bank notes, Federal Reserve bank notes, gold certificates, Federal Reserve notes, and emergency currency Hawaii notes. So I don't have all of those notes, but what I do have, I have a national bank note, a Federal Reserve bank note, and I got a bunch of, I have a few Federal Reserve notes, but different series years. Different series year. We have the monochrome series. These monochrome notes hold a special place in my heart, so I'll be speaking about those in a moment. All right, so the first note is this. I'm sure I could get this light on a little bit better. All right, I think we are right there. All right, so we got this national currency note, and you got identify up top national currency. We got the brown serial number and the brown treasury seal. So this is a national bank note from the Citibank of New York, and this is the charter number. I had a previous episode where I broke down national bank notes. All right, so these notes were issued from July, from July 1929 until May 1935. They came in two types, a type 1 and a type 2. This is a type 1 note. Type 1 notes were issued from July 1929 until May 1933. And type 2s were issued from May 1933 until May 1935. On all these notes, the image will be the same. You will have the White House on the reverse, and you will have Andrew Jackson on the obverse side of the note. I'm coming back to that one in a minute. Now we got the Federal Reserve note. Boom, says right there. This here is also national currency. Same characteristics. Let's get into the similarities right fast. So with both of these notes being national currency notes, some of the similarities are these two notes are the only notes in United States currency history that has 4 signatures, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. That's one similarity. Another similarity that they're both national currency, same color in regards to serial number and treasury seal. And they both have a series year of 1929. I'll bring that in a little closer. All right, so let's talk about these signatures right fast. Both of these notes They will have the Jones and Woods up top. Jones and Woods up top, with Woods being serving as the Treasurer of the United States. And we have Jones serving as the Register of the Treasury. The bottom is different. Since this note comes from the Citibank, here you have the the cashier of this bank. And right here you have the president of the bank. But on the Federal Reserve note, you have the signature of the assistant deputy governor, and you have the governor. So something else that I noticed about these notes, it would appear that the Federal Reserve banknote treasury seal is larger than the National City Bank treasury seal. So those are all the similarities and differences between these two notes. The images on both notes are the same for the obverse and the reverse. And all right, so let's talk about this Federal Reserve note. All right, so it is endorsed by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, which is one of the 12 Federal Reserve banks within one of the 12 Federal Reserve districts. The Treasury seal is larger on this note. Another difference between these two notes is that this note is endorsed by the National City Bank of New York, and this is endorsed by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. So those are my national currency notes. So moving on, let's talk about Federal Reserve notes. Easily identifiable up top, and also green treasury seal, green serial number. The reason I got this note in the collection is that this note came in two different treasury seal colors. It was a light green and a dark green. This one is the light green. But the thing that's crazy is that they had two different colors of the treasury seal on the same series year. So I only got the light green. When I get the dark green, I would say this little set is completed. Also, the obligation on this note changed too. So on any note that was prior to 1934, the obligation would read, the gold redemption clause was dropped from it. Now it reads that, get it in there. All right. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. If this was a 1928 series, it would say redeemable in gold. So that means that you could take this note to a bank and excuse me, to a Federal Reserve Bank or the Treasury building, and you could get 20 gold pieces for this note. So that's why I got this one in the collection. So this is my 1934 series. All right, so moving on, we have a series year. Let's do a quick comparison. Let's look at the color of this Treasury seal compared to the 1934 series. All right, so this Treasury seal is 1981, it's a little older. They call this one up here LGS, light green seal. I would call this this definitely darker. I'll give it like a dark mint color. And just look at the overall, like, even the sheet, like the paper looks lighter than the note at the bottom. So the color is definitely darker. The reason I got this note right here is you can see that it is of a series year 1981A. The obligation done shrunk greatly. And also, let's look at the back. All right, so on the back, pulling out the old note again, the 1934, there is no "In God We Trust" at the top. But on the older note, we now have "In God We Trust." And that is because President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed into law H.R. 619. And that is that all U.S. currency will have "In God We Trust" printed on U.S. currency. He signed that into law in 1955. And in 1957, the motto "In God We Trust" first appeared on a $1 bill. So now we have that. So moving on to a monochrome series. I look at these notes so differently because just like the drastic redesign of the note compared to the older image. It's still the same image, the same portrait, just superimposed over the obverse of the note. The reverse changed as well. All right, so did you know on notes that predated series year 1996, the reverse is the image of the White House, but is seen from the South Lawn. Any notes that come from 1996 to present, it still has the White House, but it has a view from the North Lawn. So that part right there was interesting, how they got the same building, but at two different angles. So you got the front and the back. I think that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Something else. Let's look at the what you call it? The Federal Reserve Bank identifier. They were very distinct with the L. The L represent what district it was from on the older notes. On the newer notes, it's just one universal symbol, and it shows the Federal Reserve System. It just encapsulate the entire system. It's not broken down into individual districts, how the older notes had it. So besides the drastic redesign of the note, security features were implemented and added. Like I say, the first security feature was added in 1995 with the security thread. If you can see it, if you angle it, that's a thin script embedded within the note right there. That's watermarks. You can see it. Yeah, there we go. That Ghost Jackson right there. Color shifting ink, raised printing, and micro printing. I love finding the micro printing. If you look on the numeral 20, you will see that it has not shading, but printing. And that printing says USA 20. If you got a magnifying glass, you'll be able to see it. And something else is right along the border, right along the rim of the oval toward the bottom. It has more micro printing. And that printing reads United States of America. It's kind of hard to pull off, but it's right there on both sides. Yeah, it's not just shading. That's crazy. That's super crazy that they got that right there. And something else, this is a star note, so that means it's even more cooler. So there you go. All right, so now we got the colorized version. More the same. Still got the same security features, micro printing, watermarks, raised printing, color shifting ink. And the micro printing on this note is I forgot to state the obvious. It has more freedom symbols on it, symbolic images of freedom with America's national image, the American bald eagle. And so micro printing. So if you look right here, it says 20 USA. On the TWE in the USA, along the lettering, it has USA 20. Let's see if I can pull that up. Like I said, if you got a magnifying glass in this note, you'll be able to see it. And it is so crazy because it's such a simple inclusion. But it's on there. There you go. You can see it a little bit. I gotta get my lighting down. Once I figure out my lighting situation, hopefully I'll be able to give you a better product, but it's right though. And also right here, up under the name of the secretary, on that line, right there, it reads United States of America. In very fine print on that line right there. That is crazy. It just looks like shading, but it's up in there. And like I said, with a magnifying glass in this note, it'll be easily identifiable. I don't know who car that is, but I hope they turn it off. All right, so that's that. So the reason I have two of these notes, look at this series year. I have a series year of 2017. Let me pause for a second. And we're back. All right, so it wasn't my car, it was the neighbor's car. All right, so like I said, I got two different notes of the same image. I have series year 2017 and 2017A. The reason I got both of these notes, let's look at them right fast. So we have the same treasurer of the United States, so they didn't change. That didn't change. The Secretary of Treasury didn't change as well. Okay, the obverse looks the same. The reverse looks the same as well. So I think what these notes are experimental notes. And this was brought to my attention by a buddy of mine. I think it's my dude, AP. He already know what's going on. AP, what's up? All right, so with these notes right here, like I said, I think they are experimental notes. If you go back, I made an episode about the RNS experimental notes. So it was two notes made differently. And the Bureau of Engraving and Printing was just trying to track the wear and tear of the notes to increase the productivity and the overall lifespan of the note. But when they did the experiment, they had the bright red R and S on the note, and that stood out to the public, and the public kept the notes. And that turned the overall experiment, that made the experiment inconclusive. So it was a failed experiment. So I believe the same thing is going on with these notes, except the Bureau of Engraving and Printing was moving with a little bit more discretion. Instead of putting bright red letters on these notes, they'll just be doing the same thing, and the public will probably do the same thing as well, just keep the notes. I don't know why. I'm gonna just keep them because they're different. So that is why I believe, and I hate doing the speculation thing, but this makes the most sense, that this note has the appendix A added to it. And the only time that is added is when there's a change to the note, whether if it's a new Secretary of Treasury or a new treasurer or just the overall design of the note. If it changes, then they add that appendix alphabet to it. Now, I didn't see any changes, so that's what I think. I think these notes were made differently. And from what I researched, it says it is most likely that these notes use reformulated ink or a new machinery during the printing process. So something was different between the production of this note and this note. That's why we have series year 2017 and 2017A, but there's no like significant change to the note as a whole. All right, so that's all we got for the 20s. I know this video has some size to it, but I wanted to make sure I put out as much information about the notes that I have and just sharing my overall knowledge. So that's it for the 20. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to like, comment, subscribe. That's all we got for this one. I'm gonna work on the lighting too. But until next time, keep it legal, keep it tender. Talk to you soon.